Hi there. This is Ian Hollands, and I'm going to be walking you through my first full stack uh, web app. Um, so this is it. This is Phrazberri, because knowing idioms is very important. It is a web app used for language learning, specifically idioms, idiom acquisition, in order to give the user the ability to catalog idioms that they run into during in the moment and in the situation, so that they don't, number one, forget the context of the idiom or the pronunciation of the native speaker they may be with, um, but also that they have something to go back to and to learn from and to work with, tied to the experience, which I think is really important when learning a language. So let's start by signing in. I've already signed up under my name, but let's say demonstrate how it will reject you if you don't add the right password. Okay, invalid email password. If I enter the correct one, sign in successfully. So the languages I have already set up in this database are Arabic, Arabi, and French. Um, it's cool. I mean, you can enter any input you'd like in any script. Not very good at the Hebrew alphabet, but you can enter Hebrew if you like. It doesn't really matter. You can put in anything you want, which is cool because it'll accept any of those inputs from any script. So for Chinese learners out there, like looking at you, Kevin, um, you can put in anything you'd like, and it will still work with those languages. I think that's the beauty of Unicode. Um, so let's start with, I'm just going to go ahead with the easiest one. So I can add a language. You saw that. You can delete a language just as easily. If I want to delete Arabic, there you go. If I click on French, I don't have any idioms right now, so let's enter an idiom. Let's say I was, shopping in a store with a native French speaker. Well, they might say, "Man, I really like that thing, but il coûte les yeux de la tête." So So the pronunciation is obviously Q, T, les yeux de la tête. And so those are the important parts. Sometimes idioms can, especially idioms, can be pronounced differently than the total expected form would be pronounced. So in this particular example, that doesn't occur, but I know it happens a lot in Russian and certainly Latin Arabic as well. So the English meaning is, for example, is what the important part. So it's like the figurative meaning or the equivalent phrase in English. And we have the phrase to cost an arm and a leg. So that's what I would put here. It's something that every native English speaker knows, and it gives you a good grounding for what the meaning of that phrase is, and even what its context is. Where you would use one, you would use the equivalent one in the target language. The literal translation, however, is not to cost an arm and a leg, but to cost the eyes out of your head. That's just how the French say that. I don't think it's any worse or better than our phrase, but I'll leave that to you. The context would be, of course, when something is very expensive. And I can update that. And then it appears in my French idiom. So I can add another idiom. I can go in here and examine it more closely, and it gives me obviously this nice little breakdown where I've cost the eyes from your head, and pronunciation is given here, English meaning, literal translation, etc., etc. I can edit it if something's very expensive and something is whatever. Doesn't really matter. However, the user feels it would best convey the context they were in. Maybe this very specific situation they were in. Doesn't really matter. So I can go back to my languages by hitting Phrazberri Home at top, and of course I can sign out if I'd like. So, or if I want to delete it, to it and delete it. I haven't set up warnings against deletes yet. I think that's a future feature, actually having it confirm with you that you'd like to delete something. I don't know that you necessarily want it to be just that rapid to delete. I think it would be a lot of accidental clicks, but yeah, for a future time. Don't hit back on your app, turns out. So Phrazberri Home should take me there, and then if I sign out, of course, I can sign out of my app pretty easily. In terms of code, there's not a whole lot here that's gonna wow anyone. I think maybe, one unique element I added in for languages, I couldn't figure out user authorization in the time allotted, so I needed a workaround pretty quickly. So I figured out rather than authorizing someone to see a post or to be able to edit it, I gave the ability, or only showed the language. So the languages in the index will only show where the user equals the current user. So anyone in their own index won't be looking at the possible repositories of the other people using the app. So you can obviously create new ones. You can show the current one, which will actually take you to the groups of phrases, and you can destroy a language pretty easily. Also pretty straightforward for the phrases. I did nest the resources, so you will be able to see, you'll be able to delete, if you delete a language, you also delete all of the associated phrases. So yeah, I think that really underscores the importance of having some sort of confirmation alert. But again, I didn't add any JavaScript here, so I'm not really sure how I want to go about that. It's all pretty straightforward. I'm trying to, in terms of, views outside of your, I have the main application header is all broken down. Obviously, the fonts are allocated through Google Fonts up top, but the main nav header is it's pretty straightforward, and it's laid out here in the application.html, and then I yield afterwards. So the header should always appear. Either it's going to show sign up and sign in if there is no current user, or in the other situation, it's going to show the your email and the potential to sign out. For languages, your index is, again, pretty straightforward. You've got your it's to show each of the languages and the add new one function. I don't really like. It didn't seem to make sense to me that the only field that you need for a language is the name of the language. So it didn't make a lot of sense to me to not include that just directly in the languages section. It didn't need a whole other view. I think it would be an inconvenience to the user. But the show will take you to the groups associated with that language. So if you click on the language, it will take you to the groups of idioms as a list. And then if you click on each idiom, it should show you that idiom and all of the component information. New would obviously show you all of the form for creating a new idiom, and edit would create the form for edit. So thank you. I'm Ian Hollands, and this is Phrazberri.